This is about living in the time of the coronavirus epidemic, but it's set about 6 months ago. The pandemic is still with us. Things are so bad in Japan that even though they are going to proceed with the Olympics, they are not going to allow any fans in the stands. Going ahead has to be a purely economic decision. In the U.S. right now, sporting events permit total capacity and no masks, even though the epidemic is still with us. In the U.S., the concern right now is with all the shootings more than the virus. So far in July, 36 policemen have been shot in Chicago. And Chicago, according to a survey, is not even close to being as violent as St. Louis or Baltimore. The large urban areas of America are out of control. The PM doesn't do anything about it except give pep talks and propose measures of gun control. The situation is largely, almost completely, a black issue. But if that is openly stated, anyone who says that, white or black or other, is shouted down as a racist. Anyone who attempts to directly curb the violence is immediately charged with profiling and police brutality. So it's a situation that festers and gets worse every day, and it's reaching an epidemic proportion. Talk about a warning sign. People will see it and say, "Not my problem," and move on. I watched a documentary called Driven to Abstraction. It was about a famous art gallery selling at least 40 forgeries starting in 1994. There was a Chinese artist who produced the works, 2 women who sold them, and the people who bought them, all represented as the works of the most famous abstract artists. I say the key to it all is the putting of a monetary value on art. So it's the money, really, not the art. That is the start of all the corruption. And a very high price really gets the blood pumping. This, where people paid millions for worthless fakes, is like a final party, the last big joke, the end of all the repercussions of the decision to put a price on a piece of art, so someone can own it. It's the insane side of capitalism, and people want the prestige more than they want the art. No one but a blockhead ever wrote "but for money." I have questioned that chestnut attributed to Dr. Samuel Johnson. Those who write or paint or act for money wind up paying a price for it. And I think the art suffers for it. That's why it's so difficult to make a good movie. And in the end, fools line up to own their own priceless piece of art, or rather fittingly turns out to be a fake, worth nothing. In a way, they got exactly what they deserved. I can hardly believe that this is true, but I heard a report from a local sheriff that the Health and Human Services Secretary in the PM's cabinet is authorizing thousands of federal agents to go knocking on doors trying to convince those who have not been vaccinated to do so. If this is true, and it's so wrong, so stupid, that it very well might be, then no good can come of this, and much potential harm. I don't want federal agents knocking on anybody's door, including mine. What a terrible mistake this would be if they really intend to do this. This is not why we have a government. Talk about intrusion. A neighboring state is now saying that the number of reported cases of coronavirus among non-vaccinated residents is growing and reaching a level that would force the governor to reenact public restrictions. 83-year-old Bill Cosby is going to go out on a tour. What a strange show that will be. Who would go? Who would pay to see him? And what would he have to say? Maybe it will work. Think about Barnum and the carnivals, the sideshows with the freaks. They were very popular. People could not resist the urge to see. Bill Cosby on tour. Maybe he will talk about how much he enjoyed it, taking advantage of all those women. It was great. That report about federal agents going door to door to convince people to get the shot, that was true. I still can't believe it. I think Bill Cosby has got a better chance of succeeding. I don't see any good outcome and the potential for a lot of trouble. And the PM is on the phone with Putin, the Russian leader, about hackers flipping companies over. He wants it to stop. He's threatening sanctions. I can see Putin hanging up, laughing, making another call, and saying, "Keep it up, it's working." The PM is such a doof. The price of everything is up. Gasoline, cars, houses, wood, food, diapers. I think it's mostly due to inflation caused by the $1 trillion federal assistance programs. The experts include it, but go on about other causes. I'll stick with inflation. And the PM boasts about his infrastructure plan, calling it bipartisan. That's wonderful, but I'm waiting to hear about one project underway, or, as Obama Llama used to say, shovel ready. In Chattanooga, they had a public ceremony in which they officially took down statues of Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson. This is part of what is called critical race theory. They are going to try to find a place for the statues in some museum. History is being scrubbed, rejected, improved. What to do? Oh, wait, will you excuse me? I hear a knock at the door.